Hello and welcome again to Summit, the first in the year 2025. Yeah, because it's a brand new year already. Thank God for helping us and keeping us alive to see year 2025. The year we have been talking about is already here. And I wish you a happy new year from Summit and the entire MITV family. I pray to be a wonderful and glorious year for every one of us. Now, talking about the economy, we're talking about coping mechanisms during economic hardship at the face of government policies. What should we expect in year 2025? The president reiterated the fact that the tax reform is here to stay. He also said he's not ready to bring down the number of ministers in his cabinet, which are 50 at the moment, and it has been described as the highest in the world. All right, so what do we expect in this year 2025 from our government? And I'll be looking at that holistically this morning with my guest, Mr. Bola Bolawole. He's a journalist, an editor, and also a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, my sister. Happy New Year to you, to Summit, to MITV, to our listeners.
Thank you.
And to everyone, every Nigerian.
Thank you. Happy New Year. All right, so let's start from here that the president said the tax reform is here to stay. That the only thing he's willing to do is to, trim it, streamline it, and all that, but that it's here to stay. So looking at it from the background of the hardship that Nigerians are going through, the hard life that so many are going through, towards the end of 2024, we saw what happened, the stampede, the people that died, people that were injured. That event was described as one that has never, that ramification, that depth has not been experienced before, but we had to see it. Looking at it from that angle, how do you think that tax reform is actually going to alleviate the suffering of the people?
Thank you, my sister. We talk about coping mechanisms. It's not only the people that must adopt coping mechanisms, government itself must also adopt coping mechanisms because country is not as it used to be. So how will the government cope with the act of governance?
Act of governance.
Yes. How do we cope? There are three fundamental things that the government have to do, that they have to do. Number one, you must increase your income. There must be more sources of income because one of the problems is that we do not have enough income coming into the government because of many reasons which may not detain us there. Maybe part of it is oil theft and low production of crude, things like that, which has resulted in Nigeria not making as much money as it used to make. So we must look for other sources of income so that our income can go up. That is one. The second angle is you must reduce expenditure. Government must reduce expenditure. Areas we now have only critical expenditure. Other expenditure that you can do away with, you have to do away with them. Bloated bureaucracy, bloated executive, and things like that. And then wasteful spending on extravagant expenditure. All those, government must reduce expenditure. Then the third angle is that government activities, government processes must become more efficient and more effective. You must be able to get more from less. With this government, we have seen that they are trying to increase income. And the way they are trying to increase income is squeezing the people, getting more money from the people. They are not creating new wealth. For you to increase income in such a way that the people will be benefiting from it, you must increase income. You will create new wealth. How do you create new wealth? You can create new wealth by going into the land, by tilling the land. The Bible tells us that when there was famine in the land, Isaac sowed in the land. Not that Isaac went and collected taxes from people. You are collecting taxes, you are just trying to mop money that is in circulation. You are mopping money from the people into the government purse. That is not what we should be doing. We should be tilling the land, cultivating maize, cultivating cassava, cultivating yam, and things like that. Producing, we should increase production.
Resources.
Yes, that is another angle. You see, there are resources in 3 layers: on the land, inside the ground, and in the air. And then the resources also inside the sea. So God has given us control over all these resources. That's why He said we should have dominion over them. We should replenish. We should have dominion over them. So we must go to the land. We are here now. What are we benefiting from? We are benefiting from resources in the air. Whether it's MTN, whether it is MITV, whether it is the air, these resources of the air that we are tapping. So you must tap resources, create new wealth. This government is not doing much of that. So it is just mopping money out of that is in circulation. And in which case, you are squeezing water out of stone.
But what about the government always insisting that, this administration rather, insisting that they are not the ones that brought the country to the level where it is? So these policies are like what they can use to run government as it is.
No, you see.
Is it just like an easy way out, or?
You see, government is a continuum.
Okay.
When you get into government,
it's the same APC administration.
Yes, you see, okay. When you get into government, you inherit assets. You also inherit liabilities. You cannot inherit assets and don't complain, and then you begin to complain about liabilities that you have inherited. You must take the two together. And when you have come in, and this president has told us that I know what I've come to face. Don't pity me. Is he not the one that said so? Or is he reneging? He has said so. He said, don't pity me. I know what I'm asking for. So since you knew what you were asking for, so you cannot complain. And like everybody is saying, it's still the same government. It's APC to APC. So, and apart from being APC to APC, he was instrumental. He said it himself, that he was instrumental in bringing former President Muhammadu Buhari to office. The first time he contested Olule, second time Olule, third time Olule, meaning that he failed the first 3 times. It was when the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, came in, joined forces with him, that he won. So you brought him. First time you brought him. Second time, when everybody was expecting, having seen his woeful performance, that you will dish him, you still supported him. And now you have taken over from him. And you are saying that you will continue, you build on his legacies. So you cannot now distance yourself from him. You cannot now say you are not part of that government. You were the national leader of that party. And you are now the president. A Milokon, it is my turn, and they have given it to you. It's now your turn. So you must inherit it, and you must do everything. So that is not an excuse. Let us trash that from the beginning. It's not an excuse that we didn't create it. If you did not create it, you inherited it. And I think many people will not agree with you that you did not create it. You were part of those. You were part of the ruling class. You have been a member of the ruling class since when? You were a senator in what year? So you have been in government. You have been part and parcel of the ruling class. So what they should be doing now is focus on how to solve this problem without causing untold hardship on the people.
On the less privileged.
Yes, even the privileged now are suffering. We are supposed to be members of the privileged. I am supposed to be a member of the upper middle class. But today I can tell you that I'm also feeling the pinch. Everybody is feeling the pinch. If you buy fuel, you feel the pinch. If you go to the market, if your wife or anybody goes to the market, you feel the pinch. If you have to visit the hospital, you feel the pinch. Just last week, a very important member of my church died because he needed a pacemaker, and we couldn't raise money for a pacemaker, and there were no facilities in the hospital. So people are dying because they can't afford medication. People are dying because even the competent hands, they have all jackpot abroad. You go to hospital now, you can't find competent hands there. The people you find there are not enough for the number of patients that are coming. You go to the hospital now, they give you an appointment to come back in 6 months, in 4 months if you are lucky. And before the end of that, before that time, God help you if you are still alive.
Exactly.
So those are some of the problems that we have. And these are problems that cannot wait for us to begin to do some of these things that we are doing before we address them. They must be addressed head on, and we must have a holistic approach to these problems. So it is not enough to say, I didn't cause it. It is not enough to say, well, Nigerians have been living the life of laissez-faire before, now they must tighten their belts. Yes, we will tighten our belts. You too, tighten your own.
Yes, sir.
You see, the leaders must lead from the front. They must show good examples. They must walk the talk, not do as I say. It must be do as I do also. So when you are telling the people to tighten their belt, tighten yours as well. Let us see. But you can't tell us. You cannot tell us. I love the president. I support him. I still support him. My writings and everything. But he cannot tell us. He cannot just tell us that he did not create the problems. He cannot tell us that we have been living a life of laissez-faire before. Now it's time to no. He cannot tell us that he's not ready to do something about his bloated executive. No, we say that the executive is bloated. And the reason why we are saying that is that we cannot even see what they are contributing. You see, if you have this many people around you, and if we can see their contribution, there are some of them that are performing that we can say, okay, this one is performing, this one is performing. But there are so many that are just like dead woods, that we can't see their contribution. If you are in a cabinet, we must be able to see the justification for it. What is the justification for 50 members of the Federal Executive Council? If we put them down one by one, can we account for their contributions? And don't forget that these are not the only ones. Yeah. Then you have this personal assistant, you have this SAS, you have this SSS, you have all this. Apart from advisors, you have a lot of advisors, senior advisors, ordinary advisors. You have the assistants, senior assistant, special assistant. You have it at the presidential level. Then you go to the states, you have it. Yeah. Some governors are appointing 5,000, 10,000 special advisors, special assistants. What for? Where is the resources? Where are the resources to take care of all these people? And then you are not paying teachers. You can't pay 70,000 naira. Is something? Wage. You are not paying pensions. I read yesterday that pensioners in a state, you were complaining that they are tired of receiving 3,000 naira. Oh. How can pensioners be receiving 3,000 naira? And then we say that everything is okay. Everything is not okay. So it is this tax reform that we are doing is just one angle of solving the problem. Exactly. It is not what is going to be the all-in-all solution to the problems. More money will come into the coffers of the government. But the question we are asking is, the money that has come into your coffers from removal of petroleum subsidy, what impact of it have we felt? The money, now you give the state governments, they now collect about 3 times more than they used to collect. Where is the impact? The society can't feel the impact. And one of the reasons why you said you were removing subsidy is that the money that is going into corruption in those areas will now be channeled into providing infrastructure and good governance that will impact the life of the ordinary person. The ordinary person has not seen that impact. And that is why this problem of hunger is so prevalent and is so embarrassing. Yeah. We have become like Somalia.
Undignified. We
have become like Ethiopia, Eritrea, where there will be famine, there will be scarcity of food, and people will be dying. And that is what we have seen in Nigeria, that people are queuing for food in Nigeria with large expanse of arable land. Why are we not back to the land and start cultivating the land? Why has the government not declared an emergency in food production? Why not? This interest, this zeal that we are putting into raising taxes, why don't we put it into cultivating the land? The people are asking for food. They are not asking for any other thing.
Okay, so in what ways will the budget 2025, looking at this budget, is it going to, do you see it as something that will be able to create, I'm intentionally using the word create, a better economy for us in this year? We look at it holistically.
You see, when you talk about budget is just
from to drive.
No, budget is just a proposition. You drop a proposition. This is what I expect to earn in the year. What you expect to be the income. If the income falls short, your budget is thrown off balance. If you say I will have about Nigeria will make about 50 billion.
Yeah.
And if you make 30 billion, it has already affected your budget.
Yeah.
Then if you say that we are going to spend so amount of money on so project, if inflation sets in and where you think you will spend 1 billion, you now have to spend 1.3, 1.5 billion. That too has affected your budget, has shown your budget of balance. So budget is just a projection. So the project that we have today, until we are able to see that we make the money that we expect we will make. And don't forget this budget now, the deficit that is in that budget is humongous, is very frightening. We expect to borrow money up to so amount to finance the budget. What if we are not able to get the money to borrow? So first of all, you have to look at it that the budget is not cast in iron. It can change, and budgets do change. The fact that you have projected that you will spend 50 billion on education does not mean that education will eventually get 50 billion.
Exactly.
So you can put it in the budget, but what will be in the independent analysis, you will have to find out how much is budgeted, how much is released. You understand it? So we can, and then when you also look at this budget, the amount looks humongous, 40 something, how many trillion? Yes. But when you reduce this to dollar terms, you find out that perhaps even the budget of 20 years ago is even much bigger than this budget. But the money, because of the devaluation of the naira, so the amount looks big, but in real terms, the amount is small compared to what we had before. And then the population keeps growing. You also have to match the budget with the population. The population of Nigeria in 1999, when we started this democratic governance, and the population now that people are saying is about 230 million. So when you match together, you will find out the quantum of money budgeted per head is nothing to write home about. So when you look at all those things, people will now tend to have the feeling that there is not much hope to be placed on this budget. And then apart from that, you also have to look at our past record of execution of budgets, of projects. We plan very well on paper. Nigerians plan very well, but when it comes to execution, what is the percentage of execution of budgets, of implementation of budgets in the past? Do we not keep on repeating projects, projects, rolling them forward and bringing them forward and things like that, and then they are not implemented? They will just be there on paper, they will not be implemented. So me, I don't always place much hopes on budgets. I want to see them when they start implementing this budget, to see what aspect of it. It does also depend on what aspect they want to implement. You can put everything in the budget. At the end of the day, it is the area they release money for implementation that you can see that there's implementation. I would prefer a situation where this government will tell us that we are picking 1 or 2 or 3 areas and we are declaring an emergency in those areas, and we are going to put whatever resources that are needed in those areas.
In what areas do you think
food production? Food production.
Declare emergency.
Yes,
in that area.
People need food. People need food, and we have seen that in other countries all over the world, it has been food crisis that has always led to revolutions. Whether you call it, whether it's the French Revolution, whether it's the revolution in China, in some other place, it is food. When people are hungry, when people will through to the center and say, we want food, we want bread, give us bread and things like that. They are not asking for the moon. So Nigerians are saying that we are hungry, a big power. Now, what you should now, that should be the priority of the government. How do we go back to land? And I'm not talking about the federal government alone. I'm talking also of the state governments. I'm talking also of the local governments. Thank God now the local governments have been given their autonomy. We want to see that autonomy in operation, not in them buying big cars, not in them relocating to Banana Island with the money, flying abroad, but going back to the land. Since they are said to be the nearest government to the common man, to the common, they should demonstrate that by going to the land. The state governments that now collect about 3 times more than they used to collect in allocation should now go back to the land. They should go and cultivate. It is not the president that should cultivate the land and produce food for all over Nigeria. Let the local governments do for their local governments. Let the states do for their states. And let the federal government do the one that it can also do. So let us first of all address this issue of hunger. Can you imagine people dying? Children, 35 died in Ibadan. How many died in Abuja? How many died in Anambra State? Just because they are struggling to get just some grains of rice. No, I think we should be embarrassed enough to decide that we have to do something about it.
All right, so what would be your word of counsel? Because we need to speak words of encouragement to Nigerians on the way forward. Is a brand new year. How do you think they can develop more of this coping mechanism, because that is just what we need now, how to cope in the face of this economic hardship?
You see, there is economic hardship.
Yeah.
We always say that when there is a problem, even when you push Nigerians to the wall, instead of them bouncing back on you,
we'll find a way through the wall.
That's what we are doing now. People are hungry. They prefer to go and stampede for food and die there than to come and face their government and say, give us food. In the new year, I want to see Nigerians come forward and tell the government, give us food, we want food. Is it too much to ask for food? We are not asking for the moon. We are not asking you to come and pave the whole place with gold. We are not asking you to give us we are asking for food, common food. Let us survive. Let us be able to survive. Let us feed our children. Our children should not be dying the way they are dying. 35 children died in Ibadan. It should not be so. People are dying. Pregnant women are dying because they are queuing for food. It should not be so. Give us food. I think all of us should, in the new year, face the government and tell the government, give us food. Either you give us food or we die. As simple as that. That's what I think Nigerians will become revolutionary in the new year 2025. Let us all become revolutionary. I'm a friend of this government. I'm a supporter of this government. But I'm ready to participate in any procession that will say, give us food. There's nothing too much. It's not too much to ask for food. We want food. The people want food. Last Sunday, I shared 1.5 bags of rice in my job. It didn't go anywhere. We are looking for another one to share in this.
1.5 bags.
Yes, it didn't go anywhere. And on top of that, I have to put money in envelope for them to buy tomato and pepper and things like that to cook it. Can you imagine? It has gotten that bad. Everywhere you go now, people are asking you for 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. Family men, people who ordinarily should not be. Yes, is the government aware of this? Are they not cocooned from the realities on ground? Is that not the reason why they are telling us that they have no regret that they removed the fuel subsidy? Yes, it is good to remove fuel subsidy, but don't tell us that you don't have any regret. What we should do is tell us that we feel your pains, we sympathize, but don't worry, this is what we are trying to do. Tell us what we are trying to do. I have. You see, there is a manner of speech. I'm Yoruba. Yoruba said, Olabo. There's no, the believe say somebody, sorry, sorry, I'm sorry. I know you are feeling bad. Oh, sorry, we are doing something about it. Just give us some time. There's another one say, Pele. I say Pele. If you don't like Pele, go and do whatever you want to like. Pele, am I the one that caused the problem? There are two different manners of speech. I think at the level that Nigerians are, because the temperature of everybody, even those of us who are supposed to be members of the high class, the temperature of everybody is high. Because when you trust your pocket and you don't find anything there, or what is there it's not enough, your temperature will go up. In that way, more people will get angry. Just with little touch like this, anything can spark. So you must know how to talk to the people in a feminine voice, not masculine voice. Yes. No president, no governor, no local government chairman, no minister should use masculine voice to talk to anybody in the situation that Nigerians find themselves today. You should use feminine voice. You have to talk to the people just softly. You have to let them understand what you are doing. You have to encourage them, and you yourself, you have to lead by example. Let us see you. We can, all these shenanigans that we are seeing, president son, first daughter, first this, first that, this is not needed at this point in time. You cannot come and be telling us you are first lady and you are saying things that will anger the people and make the people angry. You cannot come and tell us you are first son, you are first daughter, and you are doing things that are making it, no, this is not the time. We don't need that at this point in time.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts with us and for showing your empathy towards what the people are going through. We need more of this. Let's show empathy to the people, show kindness to the people, love your neighbor as yourself, not more than yourself. And let's just carry each other along and ensure that we all go through this successfully and come out stronger and bigger in Nigeria. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
It's my pleasure for coming.
All right, so in this New Year package, you'll also still be showcasing some of the good things that the government of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is doing in Lagos State. We'll be looking at other sectors and show you what is happening in those sectors. I am Jumoke Michaels. Once again, Happy New Year and continue to enjoy your day. Bye-bye.